Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Tuesday Talk Show. This episode is entitled Shoot for the Stars, and that's exactly what my next guest has done. This is Series 2, Episode 7 of the Tuesday Talk Show. This is live, unedited. Anything can happen, especially with Stuart Wood. Good morning, Stuart.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. I'm so thrilled that you're on the show, and I've had a few comments as well on Facebook for the people looking forward to it. So we'll get cracking. We've got loads of questions to get through, and only half an hour to get through them. And people that do know you can talk. So let's see if we can get through these questions. So Stuart, just introduce yourself to the people that don't know you already.
Yeah, okay. I'm Stuart Wood. For 25 years plus now, I've been a photographer. I'm a Derby lad, very proud of it. Rams fan, of course, got to be. Was going to be a manager at Sainsbury's, gave it all up. Manager said it was the worst thing I probably ever did. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. But 25 years on, I'm still going. Went to college and did photography 3 years and kind of haven't looked back since, really. And I've always got a fire in the belly, you know that, Yvonne, and always kind of quite ambitious. So I've done pretty well for myself, I suppose, up to and including. Shall I show this now? Or shall we look
go for it. Got some show and tell.
I've dragged this off my kitchen wall and realised how much dust there is at the back of it. But up to and including shooting Radio Times covers, that's the first one. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
and that's what the first one. That's why it's framed on the wall in the kitchen. Will never move. I'm going for the minute. So
go for
carry
it.
On.
Go for
it. Shot very high-end editorially for the likes of Radio Times, BBC, ITV, also Grazia, Cosmopolitan, all that kind of stuff. And then about a decade ago, I saw the new way of doing weddings at the luxury end, which is not just lined up outside of a church like you're going to get shot, cut the cake, and you're off. This was like connecting with the people, which is what I'm great at and which I love at. So I moved into the luxury wedding market, and I'll tell you a bit more about that later on because I've really changed. I've lost a lot of weight, put a bit back on in lockdown because I've had to sort of play the game to get as far as I want to get, and I'm still working on that. Still after 25 years, I'm more fired up than ever. So how's that for a minute?
That is fantastic. That was really good. Well done. So you mentioned things happening during lockdown, Stuart. What sort of new behaviour or beliefs of you has greatly improved your life over the past year?
Right. Well, first of all, don't give in. That's the thing. And I'm not making light of anybody and I've got friends that it's not their fault that are really struggling business-wise just because of the situation. But to sort of never give in and get more determined than ever. And during the first lockdown, I used the time because I thought the one thing, nobody likes this and it's a terrible situation. And again, all sympathy to anyone who's been directly affected by this horrible thing. But I just thought I'm never going to get an opportunity like this again. So use this time, and make the most of it. And I really did that. I mean, do you want me to tell you what I did during the first lockdown? Or
Go for it. Yeah, this is your 30 minutes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So first of all, I did a thing a couple of years back, which you were in part of, Yvonne, which I'm very proud of. That was the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And it took, I'll talk if you want to a bit about that later on. It took me 5 years to do that, like not solid, but because it was all on my own time in between working for my clients. And I'm usually a pretty busy photographer, as you know, and I'm dashing around all over the place. But it took me 5 years to collect these pictures of D-Day veterans from right up north to south. And I was very privileged to spend a week in France during the D-Day celebrations as well, to meet these men and women. And I sold that book, didn't get a penny out of it. It wasn't about that. Raised a lot of money for the British Legion and really loved that. That project, which again, we'll talk probably a bit more about shortly, was very successful. Now, but I said 5 years of this, I'll have a bit of a break from this now. But then this thing happened last year, so I got together on this thing called Zoom, which I've never heard of before, and I thought, well, look, let's try and make a difference, see what we can do. So the one thing I'm very, very proud of is we got together with a handful of photographers from all over the world, from Australia, from because of this thing. Greece, Spain, Italy, America, and we thought, what can we do? So we thought we'd get a print auction sorted out and raise as much money we can. And because it's an international thing, we couldn't just give it the NHS, obviously. So we decided to give it to Médecins Sans Frontières. Now we basically got this thing together, and through my friend James Lewis, another Derby lad, of course, who fantastically, when I rang him up, said, Stuart, you got me and my company at the disposal. What a great cause. He assisted, or he basically put the online auction online for us, and it was a really good success, and we raised over £12,000.
Wow.
Every penny went to MSF. I don't want to come across like all the work I do for charity and aren't I a hero. I just want to try and do something, but what was really nice, Yvonne, is Médecins Sans Frontières wrote back and said, thanks guys, and because of what you've done, this has gone straight to the front line. We're fighting COVID in over 70 countries, and because of what you've done, people are going to live. And I'm thinking, that's not bad, is it? That's not bad. So that was one thing I did. The other thing was to contact a lot of people with Zoom, which I'm still doing now, actually, because a lot of people have got time. So we've got time to do meetings. So I made the most of that. And because my big push is the luxury weddings now, I went and contacted some really big planners, wedding planners, etc. And in between time, when we were allowed out for the odd day, I did the odd magazine job as well, which was quite good. I think name dropping as I do, I did AJ and Curtis with their dad for a Father's Day thing, and then I did a TV documentary with Alex Brooker it's called Disability and Me. So that was all during the lockdown. I also wanted to push the weddings on because I'm still wanting to get there to the very top, hopefully. And I arranged with some planners some really big style shoots, plus studying the world's top fashion photographers. I'm never happy where I am. I'm kind of happy, but I'm never 100% satisfied. People like Alexei Lubomirsky, who shot Meghan and Harry's wedding, blah, blah, blah. I love his work, his Harper's Bazaar covers, etc. So I wanted to bring some of that more into my work. So studied all that. And then when we were released out of lockdown, I did 3 massive style shoots, one at Blenheim Palace, one at Uridge Manor, and one at OC Island, this little island off in the river at Essex. And they've been used on international blogs, luxury blogs. Wow! So that's what I've been up to in the lockdown, really.
Well, I'm exhausted just hearing about it, to be honest, Stuart. Before going to the next question, that's just one question.
I know. Here we go. And we're 10 minutes in already.
Before we go on to the next one, just want to let everyone know who's watching this live or on catch-up, please do send in your comments and questions. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a hello this morning from Gary. Great to see you again, Stuart. Good morning, Gary. It's good to see you.
Which Gary is that?
Gary Kim. Oh, how do you pronounce his surname? Blade.
Morning, Gary.
Morning, Gary.
It came up there. I'm on my iPhone, so it's like really tiny, so I can't unless I put my specs on. I don't want to put my specs on camera, do I? So.
Right, next question. Next question. We're going to focus on the business side of things now, Stuart. What is the hardest thing about owning your own business?
Yeah, I thought about that one actually, because when you sent the questions through, sorry, am I supposed to say you're supposed to send the questions through? But I haven't really, the disappointed answer to that is I don't really know, because I've always kind of took it on the chin and gone on with it, and realised at the start I was a bit green and wet behind the ears, and just got and made some errors and still do, so what? And then you kind of you get all this experience later on. I'm 25 years now. And then, which is great, and you go like, I'm invincible. But then you think, hold on a minute, I ain't got another 25 years to put this into practice. So all of a sudden, that sand's going through that, slipping through that thing, So all in all, I haven't really found it that hard. I mean, of course, there are. And I'm always a pretty relaxed guy, as you know. I always remember when. Going off on a tangent, I'm going to do this anyway.
There we go.
When my wife was expecting our first Alan, and the midwife goes like, right, all husbands, partners, whatever, step up. I want to show you how to do a massage, you see, on my back to relax your wife. So who's a volunteer? Of course, I went straight away. And the weird thing was, Yvonne, she's doing all this back of the neck. She goes like, you're really relaxed, aren't you? There's no tension there. I've said, Well, I don't know, do I? Because it's me, because you don't, do you? You know. So I never really take problems home with me. Obviously, now and again things happen because that's life. But I found, you know, a glass of large malt whiskey doesn't half help sometimes as well, and all the rest of it. One thing in lockdown, Little Mick whiskey at 17 quid a pop, single malt, pretty good. Am I supposed to do that as well? We're not the BBC, are we? So
other whiskies are available.
There are, yeah.
Supermarkets are available. I know that when before we went into lockdown, there were times when you visited us in the office, Stuart, and then you told us stories of, you know, flying here, there, and everywhere to do photo shoots. I mean, is that a hard thing to do, being away from the family for all that time? And you're just so busy all the time.
I know, yeah, it is, but it's great. But it does take it out of me. But then you go like, and I'm not knocking this. I used to work at Sainsbury's stacking shelves, dreaming about being a photographer. And if there's any shelf stackers out there, good luck to you, because I loved it and had a good laugh with my mates and all that. But I always dreamed about being a photographer, and of course I am now, and I'm doing these kind of things, and it is utterly brilliant when you get like a week in Moscow with Joanna Lumley, or you're flown to, I don't know, Istanbul to do a shoot and all this kind of stuff, you know. But it don't all take it out of you, but that's fine, you know. That you know, it's a lot of planning, and these days dragging your equipment through that wonderful security guys at the airport, they love me, I tell you. Especially the big batteries, you know. I've had to beg, and I remember at Sofia Airport coming back from doing a rock band in Bulgaria. That is Sofia, isn't it? Yeah. And all of a sudden on the tannoy it went bing bong, Mr. Stuart Wood. Oh, here we go. It's the batteries. And we got this woman who I'm sure was ex-Stasi there, going like, basically, you ain't taking this thing back to Britain with you. I was going, but look, it came out with me. So, and I need it, you know, I can't leave it here. It's not going on the plane. And I said, can I speak? And the thing is, don't lose your rag, and these people are doing a job, etc., etc. We know some of them like it, yeah, but don't push it because they've got the upper hand. So I just said, look, can I speak to somebody, you know, higher up? So this lady came on the phone, and I just said, look, it says on the thing that it can fly, and I've taken the fuse out, and it's all inert, and it's definitely safe and stuff. And she went, put the other woman back on, and so she puts the phone back on, and she just like her face didn't crack. She just went, have a nice flight. so I got it on. But it's like as soon as like your bags go through them, you know, like the bags stop and most folks go on, you just know, man, they're going to stop. Just know. To the side, and you go, here we go. So,
well, there we go. Another example of how we go off on a tangent with Mr. Stuart Wood.
Yeah. By the way, can I just explain? People think when I'm doing my Zoom calls, this is a can of beer. It's not. It's my U2 mug. Look, bought at great expense at one of their concerts, and it's sparkling water because I'm not on beer. Just not this.
Yeah, anyway, we believe you, Stuart. Yeah, we believe you. Stuart, what one thing would you change about your business, or maybe the industry, and why?
Yeah, I forgot about that one. That was the one I thought, now I'm going to answer this one. Really. Yeah, I mean, about my business, I'm changing it at the moment. The big changes are on at the moment, as you know. Lost over 5 stone.
That's incredible. Absolutely. Yeah. Well done.
See if I can get a quick picture. Hold on. Come on.
Hold on, everyone. Whilst Stuart looks for his photograph, just to remind those people at home watching live or on catch up, please do say in your comments and questions. Wow, look
at that, before and after. There we go.
That's incredible.
So sorry, am I back on? Are you still talking?
You are back on.
Right. Yeah, I realised. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is you've got to people watch this if you haven't seen it. Peter Dinklage, our Game of Thrones, has got one of the most inspiring videos out there, and it's on YouTube. And he goes back to Bennington College. Watch it; it's amazing, because the message he says is like, do not wait for the world to tell you ready, because it won't happen, you know. Just go and do it, you know. So I spent a lot of years thinking, look, if I'm going to be the best photographer I can, everything falls into place, and it doesn't. The good news is I didn't waste those years, because I was kind of honing my art, if you like, or my photography. And then a few years back, I realized, like, you know, I'm running out of time. That sand's going through, but pretty quick now. So I want to be go as far as I can. In fact, I was mentored. Shall I tell you about that very quickly?
Very quick. We're in question 3, but we've only got 15 minutes
this
left.
This is really good. You're going to love this. Right, I was mentored because I was kind of doing this. I weren't going anywhere in business, so I suppose it is, you know, relevant. So I paid this lovely girl who I knew anyway. She's a really good business mentor. And she goes, what's the, right, tell me about yourself. So this thing here, my Radio Times cover, right. I said, right, my all-time ambition was to get Radio Times cover. And I said to my wife, Liz, I'll either get it, and it goes on the kitchen wall then pointing, because that's the next room there, or I die, whichever happens first. I'll never give in. And that's it. So I was determined. And of course I got it. And then as usual in business and in life, the first nut is the hardest one to crack. Once I got that, I got known as being a Radio Times covers photographer. I got loads now. I'm not being complacent about that. If I get one, I still drive around, and if I see a service station, I'll stop and just go in the WH Smith and look at it, because it's in there a week, you know. So I'm not being complacent, but I've got loads now, which is great. Now, so she goes, "What are you doing now?" And I said, "I want to be really successful in the luxury wedding industry, go right to the top." She goes, "Yeah, that's the problem. You haven't got a purpose." I went, "Well, I have." And she goes, "What is it?" And I went, "All right, you got me." So she says, you're better when you've got something in your sights, and you haven't really at the moment. So armed with that, when was it? 3 years ago, I thought, right, I'm going to give myself a ridiculous target. And again, I either get it or I die, you know, a ridiculous target. And I've given myself a target to become Harper's Bazaar top list wedding photographers in the world, you know. Now, that's utterly ridiculous, yes. But the point is, Yvonne, I got my Radio Times cover, so who's saying I won't do this? But if that's up there at the moment and I'm here, by the end of the 5 years that I've given myself, I'll be there or there, you know. Yeah. So I'm going to improve whatever happens. And who knows, I might even get it, you know. So that meant I've got to look a bit more like my target audience. So I needed to trim up and trend up. You saw what it looked like. I was a right porker, wasn't I? So I went and lost 5 stone. And you know, and now when I go to my soirees at the Savoy and the Ritz, which I do, you know, I'm kind of looking a bit more like them. I'll always be Stuart, you know that. But
absolutely,
absolutely. But you know, I needed to do that, and I forgot what the question. What was the question now?
I didn't know anymore. I knew this would happen with you. I knew you'd be trouble.
Anyway, so I'll tell you. So there's that. So it won't just lose a bit of weight and I get there. I've also really sort of, you know, read the book, which is Seth Godin's. Sorry, am I supposed to tell you that? That's the next question.
Hold on a minute, Stuart. I'm the blinking host here.
Right, questions. Okay. And I invested loads on well, I went on a massive photographer called Greg Fink. He's a French guy and he's brilliant. And me and him's mates now. And oh, gosh, show you this. Converted into a Derby County fan. Hold on.
Oh yes, this is the guy.
Look, there he is. Oh, hold on. Where's the camera?
By the way, that's it.
Looking way too cool in his Derby shirt there.
Way too cool.
I went to his pad in Paris, and it was brilliant with a load of others around the world. And he sits me. Here's a good story. He sits me next to Joy Proctor, biggest wedding planner in the world, and my head's saying like, "Network with Joy." But Derby's playing against Leeds in the game that night. So Greg's a football fan as well. And I'm thinking, oh no. Now Liz is going to text me the scores through. And Greg's going, how are you going to do tonight? I said, look, you know, Leeds have trashed us twice this year. They're 1-0 up at our place. So no chance. I'm like, there you go, look, 1-0 down already. 5 minutes later, he walks past. How you doing? I said, typical Derby, just to lead me on. We're drawing now, but we're still going to lose. Anyway, about 20 minutes later, he's like, he's kind of being the great host at the other end of this massive pad he's got. So I went up to him, because he's a football fan, he knew the look on my face. He just went, "You scored, haven't you?" When game on, mate, it's 2-1. So he said, like, I'm going to project the game on the wall, but I can't have the sound on. So I kid you not. And then he found out I like Lefroy whiskey. So he's plying me with Lefroy whiskey. So instead of networking with the biggest wedding planner in the world, the entertainment for the evening was the crazy Englishman leaping around. And of course, we won right at the end. He's hugging me. And then I got them all sat down on the chairs and we're all going So I don't know if I impressed the biggest wedding designer in the world or not, but I just, you know.
It's certainly memorable, and that's very important in business.
It's the Irish in me, I think. I just can't help the emotions coming out. Sorry, Yvonne, I'll let you talk for a bit now.
Right, Stuart, you mentioned the book. So what book has influenced you the most?
Right, there's 2 I'm going to tell you about. One that I've read from a child. I read it every Christmas. It's amazing, and it really is amazing. Christmas Carol, the Charles Dickens thing. And okay, it's a Christmas ghost story, but there's loads of messages in there. First of all, make the most of your time, because old Scrooge don't find out till right near the end that he's wasted most of his life. And yet, you know, in that last bit, he probably lives a richer, fuller life than most people, or a lot of people, do in a whole lifetime. So that's a really good message, you know. And it's just a great book anyway at Christmas. And the other one, business-wise, excuse me, is the Seth Godin book, Purple Cow. Again, it was recommended to me on Greg Fink's course in Paris. And I read it, and I read it twice, and it is absolutely brilliant. Anyone who ain't read it, I'm not on commission, but go out and buy it and read it twice because it's amazing. I don't know if you know the premise. I'm sure you do, Yvonne, but you probably read it 10 times because we know how great you are. But it's about you've got to be remarkable these days. Advertising don't work anymore, so on and so on. And the Purple Cow is like the last journey you made. How many cows did you pass in the field? I'll move it on a bit. You obviously don't know, but had there been a purple one in there, i.e. remarkable, you would have noticed it, and that's what the book's about. And the message I got from that, which really hit me between the eyes, was the opposite of remarkable isn't unremarkable, it's very good, because there's a lot of people that's very good, but you've got to be remarkable. So brilliant book. Yeah, really recommend it.
That's the Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Make sure you check that out, whoever's watching. So what is the best piece of advice, Stuart, you've ever been given, and how did it affect your life? I want to hear you answer this one.
All right. I've got quite a short one for this one, believe it or not, because the best piece of advice was one that kind of helped make my decision. And I always remember when I went to Greg Fink's and they had to stand up, talk about yourself. You know, this is the thing I quoted. Mark Twain said, in 20 years' time, you're going to regret what you didn't do, not what you did. Yeah. And that really hit home a few years back, you know. So like, and then I think it goes on if you read it. So unfurl the mainsail, throw off the bow lines, explore, discover. Because you just think like, you know, we're only here once that we know of. So make the most of it. Don't just dream, just try it, you know, at least fail. And again, the Peter Dinklage thing, fail. What does he say? Fail, never fear, try again, fail better, you know, so it's, don't worry about it. Just do it. And at least in 20 years' time, I can say, I didn't make Harper's Bazaar, or hopefully I can say I did it. But even if I say I didn't do it, I can say when I'm bouncing my grandkids on my knee or whatever, I tried, I gave it my best, you know, and that's what I'm going to be saying, definitely.
Absolutely. And would that be similar advice if someone's watching this and they're thinking about starting up or maybe creating a side hustle? What advice would you give someone starting out in business, and how would they know that they're ready?
That's that thing again, isn't it? About being ready. Don't wait. I waited, you know, I waited for the world to tell me that I was ready. It ain't going to come, you know. Again, quoting the great Seth Godin, there are no blue lights coming to help you. There's no lifeboat coming to help you. And knights in shining armor only appear in fairy tales. You know, you've got to do it. All right. So don't waste your time. Time is the most precious commodity. Don't waste it. Have a good time as well, of course, in between, like I do. But don't waste it. You know, have a fixed focus. Have something to aim for, and just go for it. You know, but do not wait for the world to tell you you're ready, because it won't.
And I speak to lots of people in business. They're newly started, and there's people who put hurdles in their own way. You know, they have to have things absolutely perfect. They have to have the best equipment. They have to have the best they have to have the best facilities or the best machinery before they start. And it's like, you just start, because you can sort all that out along the way. You just got to make a start. It's got to go for it.
Exactly. That is down to, very interesting, another Seth Godin thing, that what he calls it lizard brain. Do you know that?
Yeah.
And your amygdala is a little voice in everyone's head, and it's screaming at me all the time. I start to get lost now. You know, Stuart, who do you think you are? Of course you can't do that. You know, you're a boy from Derby. You can't do that. It's just like, get lost, do one, mate, because I'm doing it. You know? So as Seth Godin says, and everybody gets that, no matter how successful you are or whatever. But the way to channel that is when that's screaming in your head, tell it to do one, but also that is the green light, not the red light, for doing something.
That is the sign to go for it. It's the right time to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you've obviously, you know, you've been around the world taking photographs, and you've been some exclusive photo shoots, and you've told us lots and lots of stories, and it's just absolutely mind blowing. But what gives you the biggest sense of achievement? Right. Another show and tell. Love this.
Yeah, this I think is the one thing that, you know, that these guys are my heroes, and when I had to go and we had the wonderful gala evening at the Four Seasons, which you couldn't just, Yvonne sponsored me as well. Thanks, Yvonne, and did the program for the evening, and thank you. You're always there for me. And I stood up, and the first thing I said, well, I'm not the hero here, you know. These are the heroes, you know. These guys stepped up to the plate and defeated probably the worst evil that's ever blighted humanity, etc., etc. And I'm serious about that. And they didn't have a choice, and they did it at great cost, but they did it, you know. So I wanted to do this, and so this is it. First of all, I wanted my own book. I've got loads of. I've been in hundreds of books over the years. My pictures have, and I wanted to have my own book on the shelf. That was the first thing. Then I got this mad idea that I've been kicking around for years, and then I thought, Stuart, if you don't do it now, you never will, because they're getting old. So as I say, 5 years before, so that'd be what, six? I can't remember now because of last year. Six years ago, I started this thing to get it ready for last year. Not last year, year before. It's the lockdown thing. It does you ready, doesn't it? And which is 75th anniversary. So meeting these guys was very humbling, and hearing their stories, and the women as well, because that's important. It wasn't just about the lads rushing up the beaches, God bless them, but obviously there's a lot to it more to organise that. I remember Nanza, a lady called Nanza, who used to write down the Enigma code in fours when it came in, you know, and she was on duty on the night of D-Day, you see, and she was going, Stuart, no one's going to be interested in my story. We are, you know. Now, when you consider that by the time, excuse me, 2 springs ago, when it was the 75th anniversary, I'd lost a third of them, you know, they've gone, they've died, you know. And when the first guy I did was in Charleston, it was Charlie, and it was the first one I did, and he was, I went and shot him, but he died, he got ill very quick after this. He never saw his picture because he got ill, and I took his picture around to his widow and his wife, and they both cried when they saw it. And they said, may we use this on his coffin next week? I was going, I'd be absolutely honoured. I know, I'd be absolutely honoured. And I said, whatever happens, he's going to always be first in the exhibition and the book and whatever. He'll always be first. I'll make sure Charlie's first, you know, because he's the first one. But he told me this incredible story. I won't go into it now, about a football match that he had on the beach, you see. Now, it's a really funny story. I know you've read it. But, yeah, the thing is, they looked at each other when I told them the story, and they said, you know, in 70 odd years, whatever it was then, he's never told us that story. We would have lost it. And I suppose, even when they thought about the good times, which I'm sure they had a laugh, it probably sort of opened up other things about the worst times that they saw, you know. So we got these forever. And a very, very proud moment was when, after we got the National Memorial Arboretum gallery space, the main gallery space from May to September, and even Prince William was there on Natural D-Day, you know, so he had a little walk through, which is good, because I was there photographing it for the British Legion magazine on that day, photographing him. We then had the gala thing at the Trinity Square, the Four Seasons, and then it went straight to the Army Museum, National Army Museum at Chelsea. It also went to Portsmouth Museum and sat alongside some pictures from the Royal Collection, you know. So it was an incredible success. And we've sold the book and raised thousands of British Legion. But the thing which was unexpected is, like, in some ways, is like just the cherry on the cake, was the curator of the British Library saw the book and said, this is far too important. So it's now been a session to the British Library permanently, you know.
Wow.
So like, theoretically, Yvonne, in 500 years' time, when me and you sat on the cloud up there, and I don't mean the iCloud, that book's still going to be there with my pictures and those stories, and, you know,
that's
so
incredible.
That's what incredible. I'm taking that, you know. I'm taking that.
I don't know about the British Library thing. That is something else. Oh, amazing!
And I never planned about that, but then again, you know, as I'm sure you know, you talk about this every week. When you notice opportunities and you go, other opportunities come as a result. You know, so you take them, obviously.
You've got to do those things. You've got to get involved, haven't you, and put your name forward and say, yeah, I'll have a go at that. And then all of a sudden, opportunities come and you think, oh, well, yeah, opportunity doesn't knock, create a door.
Exactly. And don't be worried about these. I've got mad ideas. You know what I'm like. Like, you can make them happen. You know, you can make them happen. I
mean, I thought, well, let's make a talk show. Why not? You know, I thought to myself, who am I to do a weekly talk show?
Your amygdala.
But you think, just do it. Why not? Yeah. Just do it. So thinking about the past year, it's been a tricky one for a lot of people, and I've spoken to hundreds of small business owners in the local area and beyond, and, you know, some of them, including myself, have felt like quitting. You think, what's the point? Especially for like non-essential businesses. Stuart, can you share a time, if you have ever felt like quitting, and if so, what did you do to get out of that mindset?
To be honest, I never have. And obviously things are, life isn't just a straight line on a graph, and all the rest of it. And there have been times when it's been tough, of course, but I've never, ever thought of giving in, because I'm thinking I've got a good product to sell. It's just, I need to change in the market or whatever. I need to lose 5 stone or whatever, right? I'm going to do the damn thing, But to be honest, I thought I'll go down kicking and screaming, I've got a business. Here's another thing, I think one of the questions on about, I can't remember it, but I know I'm not the best businessman. I'm kind of, is it right? I'm brain, the creative bit, and I've come up with the mad ideas or whatever. And I've learned in the last few years that I can't do anything on my own. That's a great thing. Anyone starting out, don't think you can, because you can't, and I've got this mad idea, which I'll tell you about another time, but it could be mega. And I've got in touch with a big businessman I know in London and told him, and he goes like, we'll do it. And I said to him, look, I had 100% of nothing, but now I've hopefully got 50% of potentially a lot, So when things what prompted me on that was about that giving up. He said, you might want to give up photography. And I said, mate, I'm going to be like Norman Parkinson, the great Norman Parkinson. He dropped on a photo shoot in I don't know, somewhere like the Caribbean or something. God bless him, God rest his soul, Now, hopefully many years from now, I'll drop with a camera in my hand as well, because there's no way I'm ever going to give up to taking pictures.
Wow.
But so to me, I've had to adapt over the years. But I honestly can't think of one moment when I thought, you know what, I'm going to kick this and go back to Sainsbury's. No disrespect to Sainsbury's, There are other supermarkets out there.
Are available. Yeah. Stuart, you mentioned about the, something that you're looking forward to, another crazy idea. But what is left on your bucket list?
Yeah, well, the Harper's Bazaar thing ain't about a Target, is it? So that's kind of the main one, really. I do like the idea of doing more, like I did for the D-Day thing as well, and then the Medicine Sans Frontier thing as well. But I want to try and give this project, which I'll tell you about another time, because we're out of time already. Look at it, a real go, and also, at the same time, try and become one of the best wedding photographers in the world. That's not a bad aim, is it?
No, not bad at all, actually. How will you know when you become the best photographer in the world?
Well, as I say, that's a good point, and that's why I kind of honed it and channeled it to making Harper's Bazaar. They do a list every year. They do the top planners and the top whatever, and one of on their list, which my mate Greg Fink's on now, who's now I've informed him is the honorary president of the Paris chapter of the Derby County fan club, of course. I told he's on the list, and good luck to him, because he's an amazing photographer. But I want to make that list as well, and then I won't sit back then. But that'll be just the next page.
That's the moral of the story then. I mean, from what you're saying, the moral of the story is you have those really big, big, hairy, audacious goals, and really channel in to the details of it to know that when you do hit those goals, you've got there. I mean, not just sort of wandering around aimlessly.
Which I was,
and then also find people who have been there and done that, and find out how they did it, and hang around with those people that you want to be like. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And
because you become
running out of time, aren't we? Sorry, Stuart, what did you say?
Frozen.
It's frozen. Oh no. Stuart, are you there? Can you still hear me? No, he's gone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Stuart Wood, Derby born and bred. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Tuesday Talk Show with me, Yvonne Gorman, your host. Please come back next week at 10 o'clock for more Tuesday Talk Show. But I'll end there with Stuart. I hope you agree, it's been another fantastic, varied talk show, that's for sure. And we'll see you all next. Oh, Stuart is back. I told you this is live, unedited. I was just about to wrap up there, Stuart, but no, you've caught me. You're back in. He's back in. So we're going to wrap up there, Stuart. Can you just give us I'm glad you're back. Can you give everyone your final thought for today's?
I think, was that final thought? Because I can hardly hear you. Was that final thought? It's thumbs up for a final thought. Right. Yeah. My tea mug, look, there we go.
Failure is not an option.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've
Stuart,
gone very Dalek-y, Yvonne. I don't know what's happening.
oh, okay. We'll wrap up there. This is live. This is unedited. We'll wrap up there. But thank you so much, Stuart, for your time today. Really enjoyed speaking to you. And we'll see everyone next week for more Tuesday Talk Show. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.